More so come things invest. We talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's items only, the investment gonna talk today will be Ethereum Tiki Tich. First, I want to say happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope you a great week so far. It's my second posting as of today. Respect to recording time of 3:22 p.m. on Eastern Time. Ethereum current trade $4,640, up about 1% so far. Respect to the overall crypto market, it's kind of a mixed bag, right? With the altcoin more prominently displayed, it's been kind of surging the entire day, despite the FOMC meeting results that we've heard earlier today from Jerome Powell. And on the equity side, is obviously prominently displaying the surging pressure, right? And this is a translation on the outcome of the FOMC meeting, which is the key objective of today was what's the timeline for tapering going forward, right? And based on Jerome Powell, his depictions, I would just give you guys like a synopsis. I would say he's leaning more towards like a gradual bullish sentiment based on what he said today. And just to give you guys a little bit more clarity, is that tapering is definitely going to be occurring, right? But in terms of like, is it as sudden as what the media affectation has been pushing us? It's not. It's going to be gradual, right? Ultimately, the mandates that the Federal Reserve has given Jerome his responsibility to do is to triangulate between the job numbers that we are basically looking at or observing on a monthly basis versus the asset purchasing, the basically the bonds that the Federal Reserve has been buying on a monthly basis, right? And contingent on how we're progressing going forward, with the big caveat of the COVID variants news that we're still kind of contemplating, and seeing there's fluctuations in regional perspective, but also in the global perspective, it's still kind of an unknown, right? So there isn't anything that is confirmatory yet. But based on the observation from Jerome Powell, he's saying that we are going to be slowing, trimming, the asset purchasing, to slowly revive the U.S. dollar, aka the U.S. economy, which is the reason why early today before the FOMC meeting at 2:30 p.m. on the Eastern time, we saw that the U.S. dollar depreciate a little bit, right? But as we heard the outcome of the FOMC meeting, it subsequently appreciates, more of like a rebound, not really appreciate, just kind of, peak up a little bit more, right? But on the other side of the spectrum, because of that affectation specifically, the equity side went up and is rallying at the moment, combined with the Santa Claus rally that we have been sustaining for quite some time now. And on the cryptocurrency side, because of the fact that the US dollar is depreciating early today, and when that happens, investors typically would flee to the safe haven, right, which is like gold or any type of precious metal commodities, right? And cryptocurrency is kind of categorized in that type of the characterization, I guess. And that's one of the reasons why it translates into the surge that we saw earlier today ahead of the FOMC meeting. And now it's basically coming back down because we're having the reverse effect on the US dollar right now. It's kind of peaking back up. So when that happens, you have the anti-correlation effect happening. Also, at the same time, the anti-correlation effect coming from the equity side on the monetary circulation perspective, right? So hope I haven't lost you on that. Triangulation is kind of like an arbitrage, if you may, right? So on the news front, I would say there's some interesting news, but I would say these are more like media gag news, if you may. The first one's on Decrypt 2 hours ago, talk about Loopring Ethereum token surge on a rumor of GameStop NFT alliance. So it seems like there's more NFT commercialization, and seems like GameStop, despite it's kind of like a meme stock, seems like it's combining with another meme-like type of characterization NFT onto their alliance, onto cultivating some proposition that technically is like a token. So I don't really know what this is about, but it's a rumor. So I guess this is also another reason why we're seeing some surging pressure today ahead of the FOMC meeting. And then the next one on CNBC about 5 hours ago, talk about Ether just hit another all-time high, which is true. We hit $4,673 today. And Mark Cuban was very public today on CNBC, saying that he is like the Ethereum maximalist, like Jack Dorsey as the Bitcoin maximalist. So Mark Cuban, he's like standing next to Ethereum, supporting this value proposition as a long term. So I guess so. I guess can we believe what he says? These are like kind of a animated character, like Jack Dorsey and Mark Cuban, they're public figures, so they have some sort of influence. But does this really have any influence into the market, like in a substantial way? I don't really know. But also, this is one of the components on why we're surging at the moment right now, right? And then next one is talking about with respect to CNBC again, saying that crypto is like a religion, but not an investment. So this is quite interesting. I get it. It has like a cult-like following with respect to Bitcoin and Ethereum and other coins, right? It seems like people are praising the crypto god, right? And the global investor Mark Mobius, basically with his depiction, I don't know how substantive or how informative it is, or how much of a research he has done on crypto assets as a whole. But he just said what he said, right? He's just calling this like a religion. Is this like real in terms of anything substance? It could be just like you know, I mean, ultimately he might be a little bit removed from it, but I don't know him at all. I don't know who this person is specifically. He's not a personal friend. So we read it, we take it as a grain of salt. It's informative, I guess. He has his own personal opinion, and we take it as it is, right? But it's more like a trivial, but rather than anything substantive even there, right? And then the next one is really talking about on the news that we talked about earlier this morning. Quentin Tarantino, the movie director, is selling the 7 uncut Pulp Fiction scenes as NFTs, right? So more NFT related news, which we talked about already. So let's just dive right into the technicals right now. We are at the $4,626, up about 0.71% because of the effects that we just talked about with respect to the FOMC meeting outcome. So right now we're still at the 70 out of 70, so the risk is all-time high. We have no curvature yet, so technically we could still leap up, right? And with respect to what's the next level, 5,000 would be the next level, right? And even some of the analysts on Wall Street are saying 6,000 all the way to 14,000, which is very logical per the technical analysis, which I don't really know how they get there. I think they're using Fibonacci levels on how they get there, but technically the next levels are really out of space, and we don't have any historical trends to back that up. So I hope they're right. I will be happy, but as you get to a higher level, the risk is definitely increasing. So this could technically just be like a hype news, right, to trigger people to be buying, and then next thing you know, you could see that the opposite effects happen, people selling off from there, right? So because of negative news that's going to be coming, right? It's very manipulative, and frankly I take it with a grain of salt, but technical never lies, right? Ultimately we're still at a high risk level, so that's something you have to be keep in mind of, keep your mind on, right? With respect to Bitcoin, we're still reversing up right now. We're struggling to stay above like 61 or 60,000 to be more specific, with the 60 out of 70. So technically, you want to incur some risk right now. Maybe wait until we come back down a little bit to the 58. We might not, because of how much public investors are sustaining the current level. And if we hear more bullish news, if the whales decide to come in and pump the market, we could technically keep leaping up, right? Because we're still at the 60-ish something, and technically we have reached like way above, right, at the 83. And I think historically, as we hit the RSI on the 91, 92, that could technically be the peak. So if that's the case, right, we could technically be way above like $75,000 for Bitcoin, or even close to like 80,000 if we actually confirm that we're gonna keep leaping up from here. So Dogecoin right now is curving down, so it's bearish. We are at the 54, so I think selling back down to the 25 to the 20 would be very logical. Cardano right now, it's basically coming to fruition, right? We are forming that golden cross. That's the reason why we're leaping right now. And as we leap, we're gonna test the next level, the 213, which we got there closely, but we couldn't get there. But I think as we completely confirm the golden cross, we should technically go up and continue to leap up from there. So I think Cardano's not a bad buy at the moment right now. Solana right now it's reaching all-time high, right? So there's nothing you can really do about it. This is 71 out of 70, so we know what that means. But technically, if you are gonna stretch it, we have seen way higher levels before, like the 92, right? And technically, what that means is that Solana could technically get to like 275 or like 300 even, if we continue to search this buying pressure. But again, as the price go up, the risk is increasing, right? So something to be mindful of. XRP right now is confirming the golden cross which we formed early today, 63 out of 70. So this is exactly what we're foreshadowing. And I think the next level technically leap up to would be the 130, which is the peak, right? As we go through the whole oscillation. And I think as we get around there, we could technically leap back down and sell back down from there. So definitely watch out for that. Polkadot right now is all-time high. We formed that golden cross with 74 out of 70. So you know what that means, right? Versus all-time high right now. So I would not really touch it right now if you were me. Right, I think ideally wait until the 33, the 25 would be more logical. Algorand at up 3% right now. And the reason is because it's the drag effect from the overall market right now. And I think there's a lack of substance above the level. So I think the highest we could reach to would be like the $2. But ideally by the 160 to 152 would be much more logical. Shiba Inu is down about 10% now. So it's very logical. It makes total sense because of the whale back. And we overbought at the current level despite being down 10% right now. So we're going to keep selling down and we have a large gap to be filled. So we're going to come back to the 287. And ideally for me to even think about incurring risk would be at the 900 from here. So respect to risk management levels, again, right? These are not price predictions. These are risk management levels. As the RSI deplete back down to below 35, as we form the preliminary golden cross, these are the levels you want to be incurring risk at, right? Hopefully this is helpful in terms of the triangulations between the macroeconomics, the FOMC meeting, and what are the foreshadow momentum that's going forward. Feel free to give me a shout if you have any specific questions. I'm happy to address them accordingly and responsibly. And have a nice day, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care. Bye.